All right, guys, it is Saturday morning and I am screwed. We've had rain all week, hit and miss, and it's raining right now. So it's really screwed up my plans. I have done a little bit of stuff that I can here and there, especially in the house in the evenings when I get in from work, just little stuff. But anyway, my wife, she had a little money in PayPal, and with her permission, of course, I did grab a few things off of eBay that I needed. Now I did get a washable, reusable air filter. It's a Spectre brand for my factory air cleaner I found. Basically got my dimensions. I was going to get a Wix filter, just a paper filter, and it was almost $20 for the filter. And that was $30 from eBay. From Spectre, they have their own eBay place. So anyway, for another 10 bucks, I got an actual washable, reusable filter, and probably pick up 1 horsepower or something for my little 305. But anyway, that was just, I didn't mind spending an extra $10 to get a cleanable air filter that I can keep using. The other thing, now I already had the Grand National steering wheel. Now this one is in pretty nice shape. I actually have 2 here. One is really, really rough. My cousin gave me, but this one I bought from a guy, and it's pretty clean. Now I will be using the Sim trim paint on it. Now I have painted quite a few steering wheels in my time, and they've always lasted for me, so you can dye your steering wheels whatever color you want. It's all in the prep. Anyway, the one thing that I did not have, I actually had it, but it was broken. The factory, horn ring is always cracked in the middle, and somebody had actually super glued it, and the super glue was everywhere, all over it. So this is one of them new billet ones. Now on eBay, there's prices from mild to wild. I just went for the middle one, and it may be from the same people. I don't know. That's who I got it from. I don't know if they make them or if they're just a place that sells them. But this is a nice one, and I was worried about it having texture, and it does have a texture coating on it. So now I can dye it the tan color, or spray it the tan color, But anyway, I needed the horn ring, so I've got all the other parts for the steering wheel, the horn, everything. All I needed was that horn ring. Anyway, the other eBay purchase was headlights. I did go to Walmart. I was going to buy a brand new pair of just sealed beam halogen headlights, and these were on eBay cheaper for the pair with bulbs than the sealed beam halogens from Walmart. These were $21 off of eBay. This is a third set of these I've had. It's the same one, same brand. I actually use these in my Cutlass salon. These are okay. I don't mind them. Now these in particular have the blue bulbs in them, and I don't like blue bulbs. But they're going to work for now. For 21 bucks, I'm doing it, But anyway, the H4 headlights for me are always a way better upgrade than a sealed beam halogen because they're quite a bit brighter. But later I'll probably change the bulbs out to a white or clear bulb instead of them blue ones. Let's see. I got this I bought a couple years ago from Summit, brand new. This is a Jet. Now this is a stage 2 carburetor. This is for a mild cam up to 220 degrees. And I do have the camshaft for this carburetor, brand new in the box from Summit with lifters. So it's kind of a matching deal for that. And it does have the correct linkage for Chevrolet. And so anyway, I'm going to finally put that to good use because these things are high. I think they're almost $500 in Summit now. I think I gave $450 2 years ago for it. Now it's almost $500. It's just been sitting in the box, so at least now I get to use it. And the other thing was this is an MSD, just their standard $159 distributor out of Summit. Now this was actually, it's been in a drawer in my garage for, I don't know, 5-6 years. This thing, the car quit running, and when I took it apart, I took all the stuff off the top, it wouldn't spin. It was locked up, and so it kind of messed up some teeth on the stuff and knocked the pickup coil out on it. So I had a couple other factory distributors, so I just kind of mixed match parts, and I repolished the housing a little bit, but I put it all back together. Both plug-in corners were broke off, and this is actually off a factory one. I just cleaned it up a little bit and pulled the pins out and got them back in there locked in. But anyway, the vacuum pod was bad on it, and this is off an old HEI that I had here, and it's actually still good. So it's kind of a hodgepodge of HEI parts, but it works very nice and smooth now. I have several of these red caps brand new because every time I bought one of them distributors, I always took the red cap off and put a black one. You know, when you open a hood and you got a red distributor cap, your eyes go straight to that, and I just never was a fan. That's why I always changed them out. But anyway, I'm going to go ahead and use it because it's here and it's free, so I'm using it. Let's see, these head bolts, or ARP bolts here, these are 5 points. As some of you know from seeing some of my videos, I've got 12 points on my 55. But I bought a Jaguar XJ6 that I did a small block Chevy conversion on, and then I ended up trading it off later. But I bought a engine accessory kit for the small block, and then I bought a bunch of extras for, you know, just stuff on the car. And at my work a couple weeks ago, my boss had a partial one of these accessory kits. Some of the bolts he'd used, and some of them were still there, and he gave them to me. And then in our bolt bin, there was a whole mix match of these ARP 5 points everywhere, and he gave them to me. So I've got tons of stuff to use on the engine, which I think is kind of cool because, you know me, I'm a hardware detail freak. This radiator cap I bought for my 55 like 5 years ago when I first got the car, and then I ended up buying another one just like it but in black. So this one is an extra, so I'll just use it on the Buick. Let's see, this is amplifier power cables, battery cables basically. I bought a bunch of the stuff off eBay a couple years ago, all kinds of it, different sizes, different lengths, basically because I like this type of battery cable because you can see through it. Obviously it's a detail thing for me, but I did learn a lesson on this stuff. I seen it in person. I actually went to a car audio place in Tulsa and was talking to the guy about using this for a battery cable to the starter. And because I hadn't seen it done yet, and I wasn't sure if it would do it because the shielding on these are really, really soft. And he actually took me to the back and showed me a car back there. A guy used a little bit smaller amplifier battery cable, made his own battery cable basically to his starter, and it caught on fire from the cranking amps, I guess, that goes through it. And there was a burn spot on the hood, lots of stuff on the engine got burned. Well, what caused it was a tin and copper mix on the wire. When you do that, you want a solid copper wire. So if you do this, make sure you use solid copper. He did say he just wouldn't recommend it for a trunk mount battery. He said you might be able to get away with it, but he wouldn't recommend it. I'm just doing my battery up front in the fender well, so you know it's not going to be but about 2 feet, 2.5 feet or something long, 3 feet at most. But anyway, I bought a bunch of it off of eBay, different brands, because it doesn't ever specify whether it's tin and copper mix or just solid copper. So I just took a crapshoot and bought a whole bunch of it. And anyway, I cut little pieces off and separated the strands. Now this one's solid copper and this one's solid copper. Now my ground is just one size smaller because this is zero. This is some big stuff. I don't have any of the zero in the black. Now one thing I noticed from buying a whole bunch of this in different sizes, the bigger you go on the black, the more brown it looks, because this actually looks a little bit more brown. So anyway, keep that in mind. If you want black, you're not going to get it in a big one. At least I didn't anyway. And luckily I had some lugs here for them, so that saved me a little money there, even though lugs are cheap. Also have a set of head bolts that are ARP, black oxide 5 points. This was the bolts that Edelbrock recommended for my Edelbrock heads that I'm putting on my 55, so I bought them thinking that they would be length specific. And when I got them in, I checked them to stock head bolts I had here, and they're the same length. So I ended up buying 12-point stainless for my 55 heads. So these went on the shelf as spare. So now I'm going to go ahead and use them. Might as well, because I'm going to have the heads off that 305 to rebuild them anyway. So might as well use them and be done with it. The dash. Yesterday when I get in from work, it was nice and sunny. It was kind of warm, so I did get my dash cleaned, scuffed, cleaned, and resprayed with trim paint. This is the Sim brand light oak. I am not a fan of aerosol Sim paint. Now I do use it on occasion on small parts, but when I usually do an interior color change or something on G-bodies, I always buy it and have it mixed in a quart can and spray it through a touch-up gun. It covers better, it's more durable, and it goes a lot further. Those aerosols are so thin, and that particular nozzle on those cans, it just spits and sputters every once in a while. So you get little spit marks everywhere. So I did do that in aerosol, and I'm a little PO'd about it. It took 2 full cans to get that. Now the dash was dark brown, so it wasn't going to take a lot to get the color where it needed to be. But it was pretty much almost $30 for 2 cans, and it took both cans. And I still have to do a glove box console, or a glove box, the dash surround, the top panel, the lower panel, and the column. So it was actually, it's probably going to end up costing way more anyway just to have it in a quart. So I'm thinking about running to Tulsa to the paint supply up there and having it mixed in a quart, sprayable quart. So anyway, now this dash is from a 81 Buick Century. Now the Centuries have the small panel here. This is correct for a 78 Regal, but not for 79 and up. I don't mind. My car's an 80. I don't care. Now my little placard in there says Century, but it is a panel that comes off, and I do have one from the Regal dash that I'm going to try to heat up a little bit and get it removed and glue it in place. Take the Century one out, and put the Regal one in there. I did buy a rebuild kit from eBay, and for the alternator it was like $11 or something with free shipping. So I rebuilt my alternator. I cleaned it up. I painted it flat black. The chrome fan, I'm not a big chrome fan, but I've had this fan for I don't know how many years in a box in there in my garage. So I just went ahead and used it. I know the fans that are, come out in the, what is it, the SI12 or something. I know those are better. They're solid. They're supposed to cool better, and I probably should put it back on there, and I may. I just did it for a detail thing. Anyway, I cleaned and painted all the brackets. This is with automotive paint, shot through the gun, so it'll be durable and hold up. I wasn't planning on painting anything, but I couldn't bring myself to do it with, I'm going to have the engine painted blue, and it's going to have the ARP bolts and stuff, so I thought I'd make the engine at least look pretty nice. I had a balancer cover here. This is a Proform balancer cover, and I bought this, put it on my salon, and when I started the car, it was making a weird, funky sound. This thing is actually flexing because it's really thin. The balancer, it fits the balancer pretty good, but it's not a tight fit, super tight. So what I did was, now this balancer is actually off at 350. I have used 350 balancers on 305s before, and I've never had a vibration issue. So basically what I did was I just slimed the whole inside of that cover with silicone and smushed it on there, and then I bolted down the pulley and left it overnight. So this will just look better and it's been on the shelf, so just trying to basically put some of these parts to use that otherwise I wouldn't have a use for. But anyway, I just wanted the engine to look nice, even though the firewall and chassis is going to look like hell. This is the problem I have. All week, it's rained off and on all week. It's raining today. It is supposed to taper off, but it is probably, I'm pretty much screwed. I really wanted to have the car running, at least where it's starting to run by Monday evening, but it ain't going to happen. Because you can see back here, there's water. Those tracks are from where my truck got stuck a few months ago back here, because they pretty much built my house on a bog. But I need to drive this car around here to the front of the house so I can pull the engine out. That's my 305 in that. That is the 88 Monte Carlo. I think I've decided I'm going to go ahead and when the rain quits after a while, I'm going to bring some wood out and lay it down on each side and one around the front. And I'm going to come out and I'm going to go ahead and get the intake off, and I'm going to pull the heads off of the engine where it's sitting. And at least I can go ahead and rebuild the heads, because it's going to take a while to pull those heads apart, clean them up, lap the valves, and put them all back together. So at least I can go ahead and get that part of it done, and then maybe next weekend it'll be dry enough to get the car out to get the engine pulled out. Anyway, we'll just kind of see how it goes from there. So there's not really a whole lot more done, other than I did get all of the floors completely seam sealed, and I just stuck the seat back in there because I didn't have anywhere to put it. It's not fully bolted down, obviously. I got the wiper arms on, which is not a big thing. But the brakes, I don't have any brake leaks, and the brake pedal's still up, so that's a good thing. But anyway, guys, that's pretty much my update for my second weekend thrash. on the Regal, the 80 Regal. But the rain has pretty much screwed me on some stuff, so hopefully I can get the heads pulled off today and at least get started on them, maybe get them rebuilt by this evening.